The Secretary of State will be aware that in my constituency of Stone, which is where the good food chain is situated, there is obviously a very deep concern, not least of which because we had the horrendous Mid-Staffs hospital crisis on which I had to campaign against the Labour government's refusal to give a full public inquiry, which our government did give. Having said that, is it not the case that the good food chain is only responsible for the products which the patient consumed, but the bacteria came from another company which I'm given to understand is called North Country Cooked Meats in Salford. And I do commend Public Health England and the Secretary of State for the rapid way in which they've identified the connections between these different places. And whereas it is absolutely essential that we do have the root and branch review that he has provided, is it not also the case that the companies concerned, on the one hand, will have to accept responsibility so far as it falls to them, but that at the same time there are really important reasons to identify exactly what did happen, where the food was contaminated, how it was contaminated, and then to exonerate the good food chain if in fact that is the case, because it's very unfair for companies to be caught up in something when it wasn't entirely their own fault.
My honourable, right honourable, not yet. My honourable friend rightly raises the question of the supply chain, and it's true that the food in question came from North Country Cooked Meats. We are in turn trying to identify the suppliers to North Country Cooked Meats to get to the real root of this outbreak. But he's quite right to identify that this is a supply chain issue and that there's a complex supply chain in operation. I just join him also in commending the work of Public Health England, because within days they spotted the links between individual cases and made this into from a local incident into a national incident, and then at the appropriate moment raised the issue with the Chief Medical Officer and with ministers in the department, and then we could explain the problem to the public. And their work has identified the problem and undoubtedly, potentially saved lives.
Order. I hope the honourable gentleman won't be saddened by the fact that he is not yet a member of the Privy Council. After all, he is a Staffordshire Knight. He has served without interruption in this House for his constituency for 35 years, and I remind the House that the honourable gentleman has a whole chapter named after him in the late Hugo Young's estimable tome on Britain's relationship with Europe. There is a chapter in the name of Mr. Bill Cash.